Just take the words of the Hungarian billionaire George Soros. He's done a great deal of research on the situation of the Roma, and what he has said is since they became EU citizens, the living conditions of the Roma people across Europe have deteriorated.
I wouldn't say so, but has not been better, that's for sure. What has changed hugely...
Well, he says the shocking thing is, those are their exact words, the shocking thing is that their living conditions have deteriorated. And if you look at the statistics, you know, 90% of Roma people live in poverty. They're twice as likely to be unemployed. 24% is the average across the EU. Nearly
already
50% for the Roma.
In 2004, the Parliament, I came with the aim to the Parliament to create a European Roma strategy. And I talked to every single half a year when the new government came into presidency of the European Union, from the French to other countries. We have talked to prime ministers on this, how the European Roma strategy can be taken into the Council. But it was also only the Hungarian presidency in 2011 who was ready to look at the question. If you remember, it was after France, the expulsion, the first expulsions. So in the Council there was an openness for this. So the situation is definitely not what it was 10 years ago when it comes to political commitment from the countries. 10 years ago, Europe didn't know about the Roma to the extent they know. It was not on the political agenda. We put it on the highest level. We pushed it through 27 countries, 7 different huge parties in the European Parliament to find a compromise. Yes, there is a need for a European move on this sort of poverty.
Right. You've put it on the agenda, but it's on the agenda in many ways in a negative way. Let me just take one example. A lot of people have the perception in Europe, rightly or wrongly, that the Roma people, because of this marginalisation we've been talking about, twice as likely to be unemployed, for instance, and living in poverty, that they'll go to Western European countries where there is a better welfare and benefits system.
These people are escaping economic turbulence. Since the 90s, they didn't have jobs. There are 3 generations grown up without seeing their parents going to work, while before there was full unemployment in Eastern Europe because of communism. So you can remember, you can realize what a shock.
You're accepting they do go to richer countries. I just tell you what Victor Ponta, the Romanian Prime Minister, told Hard Talk last year. He says, in answer to a question about benefit tourism, it is a specific situation of the Roma community, and here I agree that this is a real concern for countries like France, the UK and Germany. So you accept that that's true?
We really don't know that, if to what extent Roma are in this game, and what we learned from the recent research is that actually this immigration is a totally positive outcome to all these countries. What we see, this sort of turbulence and anti-immigrant talk, they are usually coming before the elections. You know that. I mean, all around Eastern Europe and Western Europe as well, we are asking why governments are not doing, why mayors are not using the EU money there, why they are not doing anything. And many of them don't dare to because of the elections are coming.
So you're rejecting that comment that Victor Ponta made, saying that there is a specific problem with benefit tourism as regards the Roma community, talking about the Romanian Roma community in this particular situation.
I have to, because what we see is these families are leaving their homes because they want to find jobs in other places. I mean, people are not going to leave their homes not to work in other places, and you can imagine what a huge step it is in these people's lives. Not mentioning that why we are addressing this issue, as well as forced begging and child rights and trafficking, because these are also issues that came up with this sort of poverty. The reason why we are also addressing this from inside of the community, and also as a parliamentarian in the European Parliament, in the name of the European Roma, I'm also addressing this question, saying that many of the people are coming here because of they are being trafficked. Many of the children are victim of this sort of new system of migrating possibilities.